Hi guys, today we're checking in on Garden Mayhem, a new Plants vs Zombies Roblox game that arrived on the scene in the wake of EA's latest purge of PvZ Roblox games a number of months ago. When we initially looked at Garden Mayhem, it was in a very early alpha state at the time, and despite there not being much content in the game, I was still very impressed and the gameplay loop was quite addicting. Since then, a lot has changed. The game has now entered open beta, so today I'll be taking you through what has been added. Also, a big thanks to Yahir, the game creator, for sending me a full set of patch notes. So we're going to start off with everyone's favourite, new plant. So in the shop there has been 7 new plants added. I haven't had a chance to check them all out yet, but I did have a look at some of them. Unfortunately, you can't see the name of the plant before you purchase it in the game, so I do have a list of names. So we have Illumily, Stinger, Frozen Tomato, Triple Grape, Stomp Pear, Grenade Cannon, and Icy Onion, who is an event plant. Now, the 2 plants I did check out was Stinger and Triple Grape. So we'll start off with Stinger. So this is essentially just Bee Shooter from PvZ Adventures, but the cool gimmick with this plant is that you can change from being on the ground to flying in the air, and it has a really powerful plant food ability that absolutely destroys all the zombies on the lawn. Now, it is really cool being able to fly around, but there's no kind of like advantage to being on the ground than flying around, if that makes sense. So like, I think perhaps like maybe if you're on the ground you get a faster fire rate or something, because it kind of feels like there's no reason for me to just run around on my plant legs. I might as well just fly around and not take any damage from any zombies and just shoot them from above. But yeah, it is a very cool plant and a pretty powerful one at that. The other plant I had to go with was Triple Grape. Now, the interesting thing about Triple Grape and quite a number of plants in the game is that they are locked behind a wave number, which is pretty cool. So you have to get to a certain wave before you can purchase the plant in the shop. So essentially, Triple Grape is just 3 Peter. It fires 3 grape projectiles that do damage, and because it does that, it has better crowd control than single shooting plants. But yeah, I kind of wish that a lot of these plants had like an ability. Some plants have like alternative fire modes and stuff like that, but like having some additional abilities would just make these plants a little bit more exciting to use. I think sometimes you can get quite bored of some plants if they don't do other things. So yeah, I'd like to see some extra abilities added. As well as these 7 standard plants, 2 new special plants have been added as well. This includes Parasite Shroom, who is able to take control of zombies, but sadly I don't have much footage of it. We also have Gyroot, which is essentially a magnet shroom replacement, and this is super useful for later waves to take the zombie equipment from them, as they can be quite powerful. As well as new plants, 5 new helpers have also been added. So helpers are just placeable plants, so basically they're just like the potted plants from the Garden Warfare games, and you can place them on the lawn. They have now updated the system so you can take multiple seed packets with you, so you can place different helpers down depending on which one you want. You don't have to keep going back and forth to change between helpers. Whilst all of these things have been added into the shop, a new shop has also been added into the game too, the daily shop, which is pretty self-explanatory. It changes every day. And also in the main shop, over 16 new skins have been added. I think there was only like 1 or 2 previously. So yeah, so there's lots to choose from now, and some of them are very cool indeed. Moving over to some gameplay changes, we have new weather types, including rain and storms. Bosses also have cutscenes, which is really awesome. I absolutely loved it when Disco Zombie arrived and we got this really nice scene, the music changed and all that type of stuff. Some additional special waves are also in the game now, including Vase Breaker and both a balloon zombie wave and a ladder zombie wave. And finally, there are some event modes that began last month. Then we'll move over to audio, as there's been some pretty significant updates to the soundtracks, some very cool tracks for bosses, special waves, and as you progress to the later levels. I wish you got to hear them more, as some of them are pretty cool and I think I prefer them to sort of like the standard track, but yeah, they are in there, so yeah, you're going to come across them now and again. Finally, let's talk bugs and balance changes. There's not much here, so there's been a lot of general bugs that have been fixed. Some tools have been fixed on the consoles versions of the game, and a new setting has been added. You can now disable shadows if you want to. Also, the settings can now be accessed in game. There's a new area in the upgrades room. The last thing is balance changes. So Block Tato's health has been buffed by 10 and Gloomsprout's fire rate has been increased. So yeah guys, that is about it for Garden Mayhem at the moment. But yeah, lots of new things. I'd highly recommend you jumping into the game to see what's new, as there's so much stuff. But yeah, that is going to do it, and I hope you enjoyed. So I shall see you in the next one. Okay, thanks guys. Bye.